We'll hop in. It's so good to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute. What a gripping memoir you have. So I'm looking forward to getting into it.
Very good, Joe. Thanks.
So let's begin our journey with this. 5 years ago, this pandemic, I always start with this question. It really rearranged our lives. It was a big flashpoint for humanity. How
Mhm.
did you get through that era, and how has it influenced the way that you do things today?
I don't think it really mattered all that much. Of course, everybody was shuffling.
Yeah,
I was substitute teaching. When I came back to Wisconsin after what happened out in Washington, I came back to Wisconsin. I started substitute teaching because I used to teach, but that shut down. Oh, here's a cool thing about that, Joe.
yeah.
I ended up working online for Microsoft or a outreach of Microsoft to go into um, I'm not even thinking about it. Not Microsoft. Oh shit. Um, Zuckerberg, Facebook.
Oh, Facebook.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I was working for Facebook, but in an outreach of Facebook to go in and check the ads that are running on Facebook and flagging them for all the political BS that was going on at the time.
gotcha.
That's what I did through all of that time. And I was throwing up red flags all the time. And a lot of it was coming from one party, and none of it ever changed. I never had a chance to talk to anybody else that was doing this, but
Yeah.
I noticed it and that's what got Zuckerberg into trouble because he never went according to what his people said, and I was one of those people. So that's what I did on that, and then I just tweaked it again once COVID shut down. I went back to teaching and coaching and writing.
That's so interesting that you mentioned that because I kept wondering how could that not have gotten onto his radar? He's running one of the biggest companies in the world. Why wouldn't you follow the intel that you're paying?
Yeah, well, at the time when we look back, he was saying, "Oh, we're paying. We're looking into all of this. We're watching it." Yeah, he was paying me. He didn't give a rip how much he was paying me. It wasn't all that much, but
Yeah,
he didn't care because he could say that he was looking into it. He
true.
was, but they weren't listening to what we had to say. They
Yeah.
weren't looking at those red flags.
Perfect political answer, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So you've had a really interesting ride in this life. Let's get into what you're doing today. And kids always get the truth out of us. I'm going to put you to school, 11, 12-year olds in the room. It's career day. And one of the kids is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" What's your answer?
I would say what I do right now, I'm semi-retired, but in order to get to being semi-retired, I had to work my butt off. So leading up, and I'm still doing some of that. Like I said, I'm substitute teaching. In every course you can imagine, I get thrown in and I just deal with it at the high school level. Um, I am now not coaching because I'm so focused on the marketing aspect of the book. Uh, this is crazy with
Yeah.
how busy I am because of that. I'm juggling like I used to juggle between soccer and teaching all the time. But what I would say to kids is just don't be afraid to work. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. But kids nowadays, what are they going to be looking for, or how are they going to be able to choose their careers when you have AI coming in all over the place? There's something with that. I mean, this is going to change parenting too. It has to. On helping direct, it's going to change school counseling. What are we going to do? How are the colleges going to react? When I first started coaching at the college level, it was my athletic director said, your business is to put butts in seats. That's what it is, because they need to be able to market to get more people and more students to come in and spend the money and keep them afloat.
My day job is as an IT technician for a school district here in Kansas City. So I'm in the
Okay.
middle of that soup, and there's all kinds of discussions at consortiums we're going to, and it's all AI driven. It's like that. It's like that time the internet started kind of getting out there and there wasn't legislation written about it. Like, how do we regulate this? How do we do it? And I think the most healthy way that we can go about AI is there's ways that we need to grab it and use it, and there's ways that
Mm.
we need to say, this isn't happening, right? Because if we just do all or nothing with AI because it's so prevalent, it's going to be our Orwellian future. We're going to be in big trouble.
Yeah, you know darn well it just comes down to money.
Yeah.
You're gonna get political speech like you had said earlier about Zuckerberg. Just throwing it out there, yeah, we're dealing with it. I don't think, and I watch Marr and people that come on Bill Maher's show and anything I can get a hold of on what people are saying. There's a lot of warnings. It seems that we've already passed the point of being able to control it. It's just out there. It's all going to be money driven.
Hmm.
How many ads? What percentage of the ads do you see on TV now are dealing with AI this and AI that. My God, I haven't counted, but it's got to be at least 50% now.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My son is on the spectrum, and I'll catch him watching some of these video clips on TikTok, and it's
Mhm.
Steph Curry saying nonsense, and I'm like, that's not real, or LeBron. And it's so weird because from our generation, that whole term keeping it real was just a cute thing to say, but it means a
Yeah.
lot now because
Oh, yeah.
we're at that point right now where we have to decipher what's real or not. And that's the confusing thing, and even about what you were doing with Facebook, is that we've gotten to this point where we've evolved to there's so much out there, there's so much misinformation. Telling someone the truth almost
Mhm.
makes them a skeptic by proxy.
When you look back historically, back to 2016, and when Trump was coming in and throwing out, talking about the bad press and misinformation, all that stuff was thrown out. That was my job working for Zuckerberg, was looking at all of that. Is that the start, or did AI just happen to hit the wave at the right time to come in to really play this up? I don't know. Were they privy to something the rest of us weren't, on being able to just churn all of this? Were the Russians involved with churning all of this? Where did it really start? I guess it doesn't really matter. But man, we are right in the middle of it now.
Yeah.
We have to be careful.
It's like Moore's law, technology duplicates itself every 18 months is shattered.
Oh, heck yeah.
AI does that in a week,
Gone. Boom.
It's
Done.
gone. Totally
Uh,
crazy.
where are we going to go with it?
Yeah. So let's get into your career trajectory. And before that, take me back to when you were 12 years old, when you were sitting in that school and dreaming about your life. What was your dream job?
First, I wanted to play football in Camp Randall Stadium in
Okay.
University of Wisconsin, Madison. I wanted to play football, running back. That was the one thing I always wanted to do. I did end up playing there in college for soccer when I went to University of Wisconsin, Oshkosh. We ended up playing the Badgers down in Camp Randall, so that came true.
Wow.
I also wanted to play in the outfield for the St. Louis Cardinals. Lou Brock, Bob Gibson, Julian Javier, all those guys. It was sports.
Yeah.
It was sports I wanted to get into. I kind of wish I would have looked back at the time and maybe gone into more of the business side of it, because that was wide open. If we were to go back to be
Yeah.
able to get into that, that would have been cool. General manager for whatever sort of sport, you know, probably would have turned out to be soccer because that's what I ended up doing primarily. But it was all sports related and sports driven because that's what we had at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a way out. It's almost like a lot of these kids now. It's a way out of so much. And it's what we digest anyways. It's a part of our diet, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, So, talk to me a little bit about your career. I know you're semi-retired, you're promoting your book, but kind of give me a little bit of a timeline leading up to when you decided that you were going to write this book, this memoir.
We talking about including the time before the illness or just after the
Yeah,
illness?
yeah, yeah. Just kind of an idea as we kind of step in and really get into the marrow and the bone of the book.
Okay, so I dropped out of college a couple of times because my focus was I wanted to play soccer. There weren't any avenues for us. North American Soccer League always had the professionals coming over from Europe. Those guys, as they're winding down their careers, it was hard for Americans to get any place and anywhere. But I didn't listen to that. I was just a soccer rat. I wanted to play, and do whatever I could, and maybe, somebody would come across me. Never happened because again, no one was looking for anything.
Yeah,
So when I finally grew up a little bit, went to college, got my butt in gear, went in, and that's where I started playing at the college level, getting more opportunities. And while in college, changing my career from broadcast journalism over to education, getting into physical education, but then finding out that doors were closed because who's going to waste the physical education spot? We're talking about the 1980s. Who's going to waste a PE spot on someone that's also going to coach soccer?
yeah,
Because it was just starting up. They're going to use those on basketball and football coaches. So I was in substitute teaching for 3 years and running soccer programs and doing my own stuff. And then in subbing, I was in the classroom quite often. And God, I really enjoyed it. So I went out. I had to talk to some people at the university. Let me do this. Let me do this. I can finish this. And in 1 year, 50 credits, I came out with a license to teach social studies and history, which I just loved. I mean, it was in the classroom. To me, that was my stage. and to get and interact. That's where a lot of my better coaching came from, to learn to get those students to interact the same as soccer players to interact, because no one was really doing that in soccer. It was all run these drills and then just go play. And then I'll tell you what to do. Totally changed my perspective on how to coach. And I was much better for it. So got into the teaching social studies, a class called global studies. So we free to teach whatever I wanted about history and how things, the pieces fit together in the puzzle of the world history. And gosh, they gave me uh, freedom to do basically whatever I wanted. Apartheid, we looked into that. We talk about Russia. I took some students over to uh, Russia. I had already been to the Soviet Union as a soccer coach, so it all fit together. And then it was opportunity rang, and I was able to get into the college level. Decided to coach, had to be a head coach at Division III rather than an assistant someplace. Moved over to there, coaching the women's team at the University of Wisconsin at Eau Claire. That's when things started becoming quite interesting, very successful first year, uh, ranked in the top 20. Nike called me and said, hey, we heard some good things about you. We want you to come down to a regional camp outside of Chicago, where there's going to be a top 100 players from Midwest. Like, yeah, I'll be right there. But here's the problem, Joe. I wore Adidas. So I showed up.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. I showed up at Adidas, and it was quick scurrying me off because the players were there. So to switch me over. So um, we were doing training sessions. There were national team players there, coaches from across the country. You know, Nike has deep pockets. They'll pull in people, and they had people on their dockets from the national team. Uh, Great fun, be able to mix it up with them. We're supposed to be playing a coaches exhibition that evening. I wasn't feeling well. That was the first sign something was going on. And I ended up having to pull myself out of the match. And I spent that night either throwing up profusely or sweating like crazy or shivering like crazy in my dorm room. Got up the next morning, felt the same way, apologized, had to leave. I had no clue where the hospitals were outside of Chicago, but my mom was an hour and a half away in southern Wisconsin. Drove there, and as wise as women are, as soon as she saw me, she said, "You get your butt over to the emergency room. Something's wrong." I didn't even call her. You know, we didn't have cell phones at the time.
yeah.
I give her a heads up. Went there. They released me and said, go ahead. Go drink some Gatorade. You'll feel fine. Nope. Didn't run blood tests, which would have been really nice. I had recruiting trips in Minneapolis, St. Paul area the next day. Had to cancel those. Last thing I remember was my mom looking freaked out as she watched my stepfather and I drive out of the driveway and head to the hospital. I woke up a month later, and to a surprise, you're missing now. In order to save your life, we had to amputate your hands and parts of both your feet. Yeah, so boom, total shift. First thing that ran through my mind was, there goes my playing career, I'm done. But that was stupid. There was so much more. I did some dumb things, man. I don't know if it's just male or what.
Well, yeah, and I think sometimes you need to be alive on this planet long enough to realize things. There's something to be said about wisdom
Yeah,
and not drinking the wine before it's ready to be corked, so to
good one.
speak, you know? So I'm curious, what were the things you've had to overcome a lot? I mean, when you read, and we'll get into the abstract of the book, when you read the book and how it goes, it's proof that truth is stranger than fiction. There's so much of this that you're just like, wow, that's amazing. So I'm curious, going back to your childhood, what were those foundational seeds that were planted that gave you the strength, that gave you that ability to overcome and to be positive and to say there's more to life? What were those things?
Two people. One was my mother, who by the time she was 19, and she was a war widow with a young child, my brother Denny, and had to grow up. She was growing up with the baby. A year later, turned out to be my father. They had 5 children. So I witnessed a lot of, we're talking about the late 50s, early 60s, and women were supposed to just shut up. Well, my mom wasn't like that. She was the president of the League of Women Voters for the state of Wisconsin. I think she had something to do with John F. Kennedy being elected, so she was a tough woman.
Yeah.
They divorced. she had 3 jobs, so I saw firsthand on how she had to juggle things. And of course, she kept some things hidden from us. But there was also Walter Cronkite, CBS Evening News. I remember uh, laying on the carpeted living room and watching Walter come on and talk about just straight up news we don't get anymore. Just straight up news and learning about Vietnam, learning about the civil rights movement. I learned about the assassinations of Bobby Kennedy and Martin Luther King Jr. So a lot of that stuff was point blank in your face. And I realized that's when I really, and I wrote this in the book, Joe, that I started questioning, even as a kid, I started questioning humanity, I think. And it planted a seed in my head that really started to come into blossom later on after I became disabled. A lot of that stuff really built a strong base for me to move forward from. And a lot of my strength was looking at my mom, what she had to overcome.
So, from a writing standpoint, what was the book? Who was the author? What was the literary sway that you've had in your life that's influenced the way that you approach the paper?
Going with athletics, John Wooden. I
Yeah.
read anything and everything. Famous basketball coach, college
Oh, yeah.
basketball coach from UCLA. So many things that he had to say because he wasn't just about the game. He'd get to the game, but it was about the people, his
Hmm.
his student athletes, about helping them understand life and growth. Because if they can grow with sport, and this sport was basketball, then it would help them later on in life. And anyone that's ever worked under him has always had nothing but positive things to say about him and what he reflected or he allowed others to see from him. When I look at myself, that's another person that I know that influenced me, but it was a little later in life that it was just lay it out there. Let's be honest about it. I'm not going to tell my players exactly what to do. We'll give them concepts that need to be followed, but let's let them experiment. Let's uh, expect creativity. I grew up at 16. I was playing with men in their 20s and 30s, getting my ass kicked, but I was learning about just creative play and playing for your teammates and things. So John Wooden was, I guess that would be a third person that really had a reflection on how I ended up um, building soccer programs. And actually, it got into my writing as well, I would suppose.
I don't know that we're ever going to get anybody like him ever again. I mean,
Oh,
we'll,
God.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's people that like Phil Jackson, and there's levels of like coaching acumen, but or what was it, Popovich? He was with San Antonio.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, what's that?
George.
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Steve?
He was one of those transformative figures that can do that. But I just think as I've gotten older and I see these generations, this older generation like him that permeated every part. It wasn't
Hmm.
just the sport. And it was before all these kind of multi-million dollar players and the egos and the way that we got things. It was in a different time, but there was still an acumen. There was still an integrity that exists that we may never ever see again.
Yeah, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, Kurt Flood, when he sued Major League Baseball to become a free agent, total free agent, and it changed everything, ticket prices started to go up because the players started saying, "Hey, I want all this." I think Kurt Flood, his idea at the time was one thing: just pay me what I'm worth.
That's it.
It seems that it's changed a bit, and we're losing that focus. I'm probably not going to go any me. I'm probably not going to go into any World Cup matches because the prices are just crazy, and I want to
Yeah.
protest. I don't.
Insane.
It's not right, man.
It's
It's not
insane.
right. Yeah.
We just had a lottery for it here because a friend of mine that's really connected. Kansas City is one of the soccer capitals
Yeah.
of the world. So we're gonna have Ronaldo, we're gonna have Messi, we're gonna have all those cats descending on this town. And they had a
Yeah.
lottery that came up, and nosebleed was hundreds, if not in the thousands. It's like, are you kidding me? The whole idea of sports is they're pulling you in like they did the Cardinals, right?
Yeah.
They're hooking you for life. It's the good cigarettes. You got it in
Mm.
your bloodstream and you're going for it. But when you're doing this, what are you doing? All you're doing is getting the elites in. And it's one of the reasons why I think I have an issue beyond the Chiefs moving to Wyandotte County or Kansas is that it's all about luxury suites. Like the fact that they ripped down Yankee Stadium, the old Yankee Stadium, to build a new one is one of the most asinine things when you think how long Fenway and
Yes, and
Wrigley's been around.
Wrigley.
You can
Yes.
retrofit and you can keep that antiquity and it's in a neighborhood and you feel like that's the America that we all felt at one
Hmm.
point,
Oh yeah. I mean,
you
I've
know?
been to the old Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
I was at the new one too,
Yeah.
but there was just something. Yeah. I mean, Wrigley. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
You go pee in the troughs in the men's bathroom.
That's it.
I don't know if they still have those. But yeah, and Fenway, been there too. And yeah, there's just that feel for it. Yeah. It's what we grew up with kids.
Yeah.
So things are
Yeah.
changing. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's strange. So let's get into your book. Before we kind of needle into certain points, and we had talked about the music and
Mm.
taking a moment to listen to John Cougar or some other things that are central because music brings up such a flood of good memories and can make things kind of soluble. Give me an abstract of the book.
Wow. Someone once asked me for a few different words that would apply to what I was trying to do with the book. And the first thing that came to me right away was thought provoking. I hope people, no one's going to be able to sit down and digest the whole thing all at once, but to pull out and just for readers to just, makes them think, because I'm extremely honest. I went from a white guy with open doors in athletics. All I had to do was win and know the right people, which wasn't easy. I don't know which one was harder to do, winning or knowing the right people, to all of a sudden becoming labeled as disabled. I mean, Jesus, Joe, how is that supposed to come into play? I learned so much about this. So thought provoking, I think, is the way that the broad base, but also, I want people to understand what it is to be part of the visually disabled community. I mean, it is tough. I don't know where all this marketing aspect is going to take me with things, but if someone wants, talk to me about what it is in press for better rules for the disabled community. Number one, it's hire the freaking disabled. The disabled community, the people that are openly disabled or have it tough, are better ones to work because they have an immediate work ethic.
Yep.
You know how to deal with BS all the time. When I got out of the hospital, it took me 3 hours to get dressed. I mean, it worked and worked and worked. I'm under half an hour. Boom, I can get ready. If I get a late call for substitute teaching right away. But all of this comes into play. I guess I can't really boil it down to a small kernel. There's just so much into it. And I'm not going to try to boil it down into one little thing. It's just, I guess if one thing would cover it would be it's thought provoking. I hope
Yeah.
people find it thought provoking and engaging.
I remember, I will never forget this. This has been almost 25 years ago. I went to a Wendy's. I was running a youth program at a YMCA, at a computer lab and teens in the inner city. And we went on break at one point, and the guy I worked with was a football player. He played for the Oklahoma Sooners. Wonderful,
Mm.
wonderful human. His name was Phil. And we go in, and this man comes in, and he has no arms. He goes up and he orders, and he gets like a full plate, baked potato, all that. He grabs it with his mouth. He goes over, sits down, leans all the way back, grabs the fork, and grabs the knife with his big toes and goes in and just starts eating. He's like the level of like limberness that allowed him to do it. I just couldn't believe what I was watching. And it's like
He
rote
had
for
to.
him. Yeah. And it's like that idea that you're talking about. And even my son, as I mentioned, who's on the spectrum, there's so many people in this world that have extraordinary gifts.
Mm.
Everybody on the outside looks in and they think, oh, whatever they're thinking, they feel bad. It's like, don't feel bad.
Mm-mm.
This is a compendium of life that we're dealing with right here. And if we would all just get to a point where we would be kind with each other, and unfortunately in this country, the person at the top isn't and has never been kind to people that aren't like him.
Yeah.
It's something that needs to be a mentality and a mode that changes.
Yeah.
And
One of the things as I'm getting deeper into all of this, Joe, is I can't be upset with people that just gawk at me it's they lack education
Yep.
on exposure.
Hmm.
So that's really driving me more as I'm marketing the book. Man, get me out there. I want people to see and become more comfortable with it. My students are, when I first meet the sophomores, our high school is grades 10 through 12. So early part of the year when I meet with the sophomores, I tell them my story. And the rest, it's, hey, Mr. Martin, how's the book going? Or, that's what I've been able to say this year because I told them about the book finally. And it's about just education being comfortable. There are two sophomores at the high school where I'm at right now. One is in a wheelchair and he just seems totally bummed
Yep.
because people don't know how to react to him. And another one is a young lady who's missing her right hand. I hope that as time goes, who knows how long I'm going to be subbing there, that maybe they come around and view me as, oh, I can be, here's someone else that's able to be himself.
That's it.
Yeah, I see that has actually helped me a great deal, Joe, because in the book, man, I ran into that brick wall of depression so freaking hard. And I totally understand it. Because here's another thing, man. Before a match, we go shake a hand with the opposing coach. And then they realize what's going on with me. There's two ways that they react. It's either, okay, no big deal, or geez, I got this guy. Because I think I freak, especially males, because I've never run into it with a female. I think I freak males out because I think I reflect their own mortality and what they may be afraid of.
Yep.
Because this could happen to them. Hell yeah. They would be afraid of it, not knowing how. So it really boils down to I need to, and I'm taking this on as my responsibility. I get it. Educate the non-visually disabled. You know, don't worry about it. Just accept it. People are cool. So your example again, I don't know if I would be hesitant to want to watch or want to watch and respect the hell out of what the guy is going through. I mean, what did you do? Do you remember the peeking over and just observing and just
I
wondering,
I try to play it off like I didn't want him to feel weird, but I think he
see?
probably gets that because it is literally the only time I've ever seen like anything like that in my life, and I'm sure a lot of people as well. But I think I was in an admiration. If it would have happened today, I would have went up and talked to him. Like my son Miles doesn't have a filter, and he went up one time. We were at a camp. There was a Royals player there, and he went up to a guy that didn't have any arms, and he was like 5 or 6 years old, and he said, "What happened?" Or he said, "Are you okay?"
Huh.
and and he knew, he read the room, and he was like, "I'm fine. I don't know any different. You know what it's like to have those arms. I don't. So I'm totally
Hmm.
fine." And that was it. It was the end of the conversation. And he's done that before. He'll see things that are different, but he goes up with this childlike Forrest Gump fascination and just asks matter of
Hmm.
fact. And they are so used to getting that, they just answer him, and then he'll just start talking. Hey, nice shirt. He loves complimenting on clothes and things like that, or nice glass, and then it
Yeah.
goes on from there, and then they understand that there's this core that's innocent and that's nice and respectful, and then you move on. And if we could do that, and I think about that with political ideological garbage that we're dealing with in this country, I feel bad for these people that are just pulled around by this marketing news that's so nascent. And it's like you feel bad because it's just like you said, they haven't been taught any different. They've been
No.
in this whole like darkness of ideas that aren't going to give them any light, that are not going to make them grow. And
Hmm.
we have the opportunity that can see the light to spread the light. And that's what I see with your story, is with these kids directly and indirectly. For people that get your book, they're going to read this and be totally inspired, and it's going to make them do certain things that you may never know about, but it's going to
Well,
ripple.
with Trump taking probably at least three-quarters of the front page, and especially everything above the fold,
Yeah.
uh, I came up with a tagline. This is a positive story in negative times. And maybe something like that, it could be a rebound
Yeah.
and it could overcome some of Trump's getting the media attention because
100%.
it's necessary. And I think people are, I hope, maybe humanity, come on,
Yeah.
are getting tired of this crap.
Hmm.
And we'll look at a positive message and, let's get back to the way things, quote, used to be.
Yep.
And let's work on being human again. You know, so I'll take it on.
Yeah.
I'll
Absolutely.
take it on. It's necessary.
I totally get it. So let me ask you this. everyone has a perception of you out there as you promote this book, as you live your life, and everybody has this idea, family, friends, fans, colleagues, the kids, but you run the show. What is your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
What we were just talking about with the responsibility, again, the deeper I'm getting in, this is my ninth podcast. I think I have 40 to go. I mean, I have so many things that are built up. I'm now, I think I've taken on, I think I could say this honestly. I have taken on the persona of I have to be the person that's responsible for this. I don't mean as the person, like God given or anything, but I have to be responsible for this because, be honest, Joe, I don't see anybody else speaking up about positive things and about the disabled community from people I've gotten to know overseas as well, and they seem to be more organized than the disabled community here. It's splintered. There's no leadership in the disabled community. Again, trying to get on that front page with Trump
Yeah,
ain't easy.
yeah.
But and I've always said the disabled community, I believe, needs to take a look at what the LGBTQ plus community has done
Hmm.
on marketing. It is marketing
Yep.
that has to help lead. And it's unfortunate that it's not happening in schools. And I'm not telling, I don't think the educational system should be leading the way on educating the non-disabled about what it's like to be disabled. It's just hum- let's cut the crap.
Yep.
And let's just get down to it. Disabled community, fine, no problem. I understand that you're not disabled and you have no idea, but don't make me feel bad because I am disabled.
Yeah.
That's simple.
So before we get out the door here and lead everybody to get your book, to get in touch, any of the good business, if you could get into a time machine and go back in time and see one game, what
Oh
game are you
shit.
going to?
I would love to see um, I would love to see Johan Cruyff play in person. I think Cruyff is the best player that ever was. People always say Pelé. Pelé was the best attacking player. Johan
Yeah,
Cruyff, I've read a lot of Cruyff stuff, thought provoking. The way he always coached Barcelona and he played at the Netherlands and things. I would want to. I would want to. Heck, even past one more match. I would like to go into the locker room of a match that Cruyff was coaching and listen to halftime.
yeah.
I would like to listen to pre-match, halftime, and post-match with Johan Cruyff. Oh,
Great,
that'd be
great answer.
fantastic.
Great answer.
That'd be good.
Play from Your Heart is the wonderful new book. If anybody wants to get a copy, they want to reach out, any of the good business, where do they go?
I'm hoping we'll get it in your playlist. Simon and Schuster, who is huge, is our distributor, and they're slowly getting around to things. By the time this show drops, hopefully people can just go on to Amazon and Play from Your Heart. Otherwise, if they need to and can't find it there, Google Scott Martin Play from Your Heart, and there'll be a link to my publisher who can go on and we can do pre-sales off of that. So people can also write to me, reader.playfromyourheart@gmail.com. So
Okay. I will make sure to put all these links in the show
I'll
notes.
get it to you.
Absolutely. What a wonderful conversation. Scott, thank you, sir. Have a
This is great, man.
wonderful 26. I appreciate it, and best of luck with everything.
Thanks, Joe. You too.
Cool. Thank you.